So, Star Wars Mist Encounter is a short story, and it's written by Timothy Zahn and released a few years after the release of the Thrawn trilogy. It was released in 1995 or 96 in one of the adventure journals. I believe number 7 from what I researched. I could be wrong, but I believe it was in Star Wars Adventure Journal number 7. And I'll speak a little bit about my relationship with, or my thoughts about short stories back in the day when I first started reading the expanded universe and consuming as much as I could regarding the, when it has to do with the novels and the comics. So I skipped out or missed out on the short stories, and that was by personal choice. I knew they existed. I saw them in Star Wars Insider, obviously pre 2014 when I would buy Star Wars Insider, and through the Star Wars Galaxy magazine. But I never, I enjoyed those magazines, and I would just skip over the short stories foolishly, and that was just something that I don't know. It just never really caught my interest. You can say I can't give you a concrete reason why I didn't read them. I didn't think they were that important. However, now I can see that many of these short stories really do contribute into the expanded universe. Even though I purchased so many of the novels and the comics, I did end up buying Tales of the Empire, Tales of the New Republic, Tales from Jabba's Palace, Tales of the Bounty Hunters, but I had them on my shelf, but just never took the time to read them. And this is actually something good because now I get to consume all this content that I didn't before. So that's a little bit of my history of or with short stories. But I do acknowledge and I do see how they contribute to the narrative, to the overall storyline. So Star Wars Missed Encounter, I found that through reading Outbound Flight, and I found it really, really interesting because it pretty much sets up, or it shows us how Thrawn came into Imperial power. Well, it doesn't really concentrate on how he came into power, but how he was introduced into the Imperial Service. So I'll say that. That's pretty much a better description because it doesn't go into depth once he is part of the Empire. It's just pretty much his introduction, which is extremely important because as soon as I closed this book, Outbound Flight, and read this story, I thought, wow, this really has this encounter, finding Thrawn in this unknown planet, really had a domino effect. So without this happening, a lot of things later on in the future wouldn't have obviously happened. Thrawn would have never came into power and caused the havoc he did. So I really loved this short story. I can't really tell you how many pages it was from the top of my head, but it was pretty much a quick, fun read. And Thrawn really there's going to be spoilers, comes out at the end of the story or towards the end, but it really opens up with a bang. It's Booster Tarek. He's trying to get away from the Empire, and he leads them in. It's a chase in the beginning of the story into the unknown regions on that border, and into an unknown planet or unknown region, and unknown to the Empire. So they land trying to chase Booster Tarek, and the crew is led by Captain Park, typical Imperial leader, and he orders a ground crew onto the planet surface. So Caravan lieutenant calls for him and requests a team, like a ground assault, because there's a TIE fighter that's crashed there, but they really they don't find a body, but they actually find a dummy. You can say that it's scarecrowed, filled with vines and sticks and everything like that. So there's no weapons found, so they're pretty much thinking, what's going on here? This is pretty much a mystery. They're trying to find out what's going on, and throughout they hear explosions. They think they're being attacked, but they really can't find out really what's going on. So they send for reinforcements. It's a mess down there. So then later, it was found out that it was a chiss, that it was Thrawn who was responsible for all these attacks, and he's in exile. And that's something that I'm going to ask you guys, if you guys know why he was exiled. I'm not sure if I missed something out of Outbound Flight, because I'm not sure. I don't think there was something that said that he was exiled, but obviously a lot happened in that book. But I believe that takes place, Outbound Flight takes place 29 years before the Battle of Yavin, and this takes place 19 years before the Battle of Yavin. So there's something I feel that I'm missing. So if you guys can help me out with that and comment down below and kind of help me find where I can find that information about him being exiled on that planet. But yeah, so he confesses, he turns himself in, you can say, and he confesses that it was him, these explosions and this whole setup. So throughout his explanation, and I'm keeping this pretty much short, he impresses Captain Park. He impresses him so much because, as you know, you've read the Thrawn trilogy, or if you've read the Thrawn trilogy and many novels, Thrawn just has this presence, just the way of speaking, his words, and just this amazing commanding presence, and very stoic. But he impresses Captain Park so much that he proposes to Thrawn, hey, I want you to come and meet our Emperor Palpatine, and I think there's something that we can do for you, and we can go ahead and get you off this planet, because that's what Thrawn wanted. He wanted to disguise himself. That's why he was making all this wreaking havoc in that planet when they landed, and he was gonna fool them and get armor and just kind of be a stowaway. That way he can get off planet. That was his plan. So he says, what happens if your emperor doesn't, not in these exact words, but so to speak, if the emperor doesn't accept him? Park promises him that if that's the case, he will take Thrawn wherever he wants to go if it doesn't work out. So it's kind of a win-win. So that's the proposition. And obviously there's other commanders there that they're prejudiced. As you guys know, the Empire is very prejudiced, so they're telling him he's a non-human, in other words, so you can't do this. So Captain Park just pretty much doesn't listen, and just has this vision for this Chiss to come aboard and meet Emperor Palpatine, and the rest, you can say, is history. So I really enjoyed this short story. I think it's very essential. Like I said, it doesn't really concentrate in Thrawn, rising up the ranks in the Imperial Service, but the introduction to the Empire, which is a big deal in the Star Wars timeline. So just a great fun read, interesting, very, very interesting, fast paced, and I really enjoyed it.